Hi, this is Talia and Ayurveda Everyday with Talia. Hello, this is Stash, my cat Stash. Okay, look at this. You've got to see this. This is not what today's video is about, but okay, look at these socks that I just got in the mail. I don't know who sent them. They're so cute, by Divvy Up. Look at how cute those are. And then look at her. It's her on the socks. It's exactly my cat on these socks. It's so awesome. I'm so excited. I have no idea who sent them to me. Early Valentine's Day present. Thank you if it's somebody from Ayurveda Everyday with Talia. I love them and I'm freaking out. So, welcome. And today I'm very excited because I'm teaching about Gua Sha, the power of the Gua Sha. And I've gotten a lot of questions about this lately. So first of all, what is a Gua Sha? A Gua Sha is a massage tool, aka a scraping tool, that helps to stimulate, motivate, and smooth out your lymphatic system, your lymphatic fluid. So in Ayurveda, your lymphatic system, which is the same system as your immune system, it's a fluid-based system, and your lymphatic fluid is actually this really beautiful, clear liquid. It's supposed to be glistening in Ayurveda yoga tradition. This clear viscous fluid that in the lymphatic nodes of the body, it actually works to kind of be the trash collectors, the garbage collectors of the body, in that it eats and digests whatever pathogens, bacteria, foreign invaders that it can. And so it's basically doing this constant sweep throughout your body of cleaning up what's not right with your blood in various tissues. And in Ayurveda also, your lymphatic system, your lymphatic tissue, is the primary tissue, the first of 7 dhatus. Dhatu is a word that means tissue. It's spelled Dhatu. So it's really, in my eyes, probably the most important place to start when you're working on creating greater health in your body from a perspective of body care, because being the first tissue of the body, it's really what feeds everything else. It feeds blood, it feeds muscle, fat and skin, bone and nerve, and even reproductive. So we want to make sure that our lymphatic system is really in flow. I was just teaching the very first week of Ayurveda Starter School this morning, and the primary action of the Kapha dosha is to be in flow. So Gua Sha helps you to achieve that, to maintain that, to get to that state if you've never been at that state. Because if you're somebody who tends to run heavy, wet, dense, thick, slow, and sluggish, your lymphatic system may kind of always be a little bit swampy. And swamps are not in flow. Swamps are stagnant, static bodies of water where bacteria collects and all kinds of stuff collects, and it's not the picture of health. So we want to really get that lymphatic system on the move pretty much all the time, because even if you're not kapha predominant, or you don't tend to be stuck, stagnant, sticky, and thick and wet and heavy, what if you tend to be dry? What if you tend to be inflamed? In either of those cases, you still really want to open up the lymphatic tissue and encourage it to drain of whatever is sapping it of its life energy, which would be inflammation or dryness, and to really get that river into a flowing state, which is going to affect every area of your body. And one thing my teacher says, Deanna Batdorf, she always talks about that, you know, your lymphatic system, your immune system, it's what comes to your rescue. So if it's not able to get to where it needs to go because itself is stuck, then it won't be able to come to your rescue. And we really do need for it to. So, you know, today I'm just going to teach about the Gua Sha itself. It's one of several massage tools, one of several lymphatic care tools that you can use, but it is one of my favorite. And one of the benefits of using it is that it helps you break down not only stuck or stagnant or inflamed lymph, but it also can help you break down scar tissue. It can help you release lactic acid that's stuck in your muscles. It's wonderful for releasing blood stagnation, which sometimes is the cause of, or the root of, you know, kind of chronic pain where you're just like, gosh, I've just had this pain in my back or my neck for so long and I don't know what's going on. I'm doing yoga, like I'm doing all the right things and I've even gotten massage, but it's not clearing. Sometimes you just have some blood stagnation that is collecting and gathering, and it becomes, you know, it really becomes a site of kind of toxicity that if you can scrape that tissue and get it to break down and release, the blood disperses. It also leaves a big bruise on your skin, but that bruise goes away within a few days. But there's so much relief that gets flooded to that area of the body because the stagnation was freed from its prison. And actually, I have my dear friend Abby. We've been in the same yoga class together for like 20 years. She had a friend of hers come in and get a massage, this older man who just was like, oh my God, I am so stuck. And I gua sha'd his upper back. It took maybe 10 minutes and he was just like, oh my God, it was intense. But he was black and blue. I am not kidding you, like black, purple really, not even blue. Black and purple. There was just so much blood stagnation behind his heart, around his trapezius muscle, yet even part of his lats. And we did that treatment, and I see him every now and again. I see him at yoga, and he's like, I've been great ever since that body work, which was now a couple years ago. So it's really effective. And in modern day Ayurveda, this is Rakta Moksha, which is a form of bloodletting. I don't know if they do it in India or not. I have never experienced it personally, but I know that in Ayurveda past, to do bloodletting, they would put leeches on people to get blood stagnation to release. So, it does not sound good to me. I don't want to have leeches on me. So this is a way that you can bloodlet without leeches. So I'm rolling up my sleeves because I'm going to do some demo here. Now, some of you have seen me already do a gua sha on my face. I did I think it was in December, I did a Facebook Live where I was talking about all of my favorite skincare products, not all of them because there's actually more, but some of my favorite skincare products, and I busted out the Gua Sha and a couple other facial tools that you can absolutely use on your face to get more collagen influx, to break down little fine micro lines, just to really open things up all around your face. You know, it can really help under the eyes. You can do it everywhere. But for lymphatic flow and for the questions that people have been asking in our group in Ayurveda Every Day with Talia, people have been asking about how do you use a gua sha on your body. So there are a bunch of different ways. And I've got a bunch of different gua shas to show you, actually. So these are wooden gua shas that I get from my Ayurvedic Teachers Center. Her husband used to make them, and now he teaches other people how to make them. And they just find all of these, it's usually recycled wood. They find all these beautiful different types of wood and make them into different shapes. The way that I usually encourage my clients to choose a gua sha is feel it in your hand. How does it feel in your hand? And then how is the sharpness of the edge? How does that feel on your tissue? Some gua shas, in fact, this one is actually quite sharp edge, meaning it's been sanded to be kind of a finer line. This one would be really great for somebody who's vata or pitta predominant, who has vata or pitta tissue, meaning somebody who tends to be tight, dry, the muscle is bound. Maybe it's somebody who works out a lot. Maybe it's somebody who's got ropey tissue, because this is going to be a little bit more edgy. And vata and pitta body types, or people with vata and pitta tissue that's more muscular, hard, like I said, thin and ropey, they tend to like deeper work. And so this would feel good. But somebody who's kapha predominant, who's really sensitive, their tissue is thicker, it's not as bound, it's not as tight, so you don't have to go as deep for them to really feel it. And so a really sharp-edged gua sha on a kapha predominant person or somebody with kapha tissue is going to probably hurt. So I would look for one that doesn't have quite as sharp of an edge. And by the way, these are the gua shas that I sell on my website, taliaskitchen.com/shop. So they're all so great. And I usually just pick out a really wonderful one for whoever orders. I have a whole bunch of great ones right now. This is one that I get from an artisan in Thailand. It's not local to me, but this is such a great one. I'm like in love with these. It's a little smaller than these others, but gosh, it's so effective. So, you can look at the different edges and be like, just decide which part of your body you want to use them on. Sometimes when there's kind of these teeth, that can feel really nice on the neck, but you can use it all over. Sometimes I'll even, with one like this, I'll even do it all over my scalp, because you have lymph throughout your entire body, your brain, it's everywhere. So the more areas that you can stimulate, motivate, clear, and open the lymph, the better. So it's not limited to your face or your head or your scalp or your neck or your body. You can use it everywhere. Now there's also, Deanna gave this to me for my birthday this year. I'm trying to show it to you. This is a basalt gua sha. So it's really a stone, and it's quite soft around the edges. It's not as sharp and thin as some of the wooden edges, if you can see that. So this one I've actually been loving to use on my face. It just feels so good. But this would be a great one for somebody with kapha, denser, thicker tissue, because it's just going to have a softer edge. It's quite a little bit heavier than the wood. And one way that we use gua sha is also, wooden material is super long lasting, super durable. You can just wash it with soap and water. I keep one literally everywhere. I have one in the drawer next to my bed. I have one in the back of my van. I have one in my toiletry kit. I have one in my shower. I have one in another drawer in my bathroom. I have one in my closet where I get dressed. I love these wooden gua shas. You can drop them. They won't break. And they're warming. So for those of you who run cold or your tissue runs cold, a wooden gua sha is amazing, and they're just so great to travel with. You can use them outside of your clothes as well as direct on your skin, and I'll show you more about that in a minute. Something like this basalt one, which is like this, you can use any gua sha on top of your clothes for sure, but I think a wooden one on top of clothes is going to be a little more effective. But when you buy a gua sha that's from stone, or I don't have my jade one, I left it in the shower. I have a jade gua sha that's more cooling. So you can actually buy a stone or a gemstone gua sha based on the, what's it called? The energetic quality of the stone. Like I used to have a rose quartz gua sha that one of my clients gave to me as a gift. And because rose quartz is associated with the flower rose, the color rose, it's very much a heart stone. I would use that one on my chest for clearing grief, for opening my heart. So you can always use different materials beyond just what they feel like on your body, but you can use them to really bring in a different element of healing. And I forget, I want to say this is carnelian. The color of this, kind of an orangey brown red, shows that it has more warmth to it, but then carnelian has all of its own special properties. So there's gua shas of so many different materials. You can get them out of bone, but I really like to stick with the wood for the most part. So the questions that have been asked lately in our group are, how do you use a gua sha on your body? And it is literally the exact same as how you would use a gua sha on your face or a dry brush on your body. So when you're using gua sha on your body, if you are using it to break down scar tissue, as an example, or to break up a lipoma, or to try to get underneath a cyst, say on the side of your breast or something. Now, I mean, ideally I would be doing this video for you without my clothes on, because that's 90% of the time the way that I use a gua sha and use gua shas with my clients. But, a lot of women tend to get cysts on the outside of the breast tissue. Sometimes it's more, the center. But if you were really breaking up scar tissue or a cyst, I mean, you could just go back and forth. You can just be working on that one small area, trying to bring blood and movement into that one tiny area. That's why it can be so effective for breaking down scar tissue. Your skin will turn pink because it's responding to the friction of the gua sha against your skin, and it's really starting to transform the tissue or the issue below the tissue. Oh, that was a good Dr. Seuss rhyme. So you can just go back and forth, create some heat, create some friction. But what I like to do, if I'm doing it that way on naked skin, is I'm definitely going to put some oil on first. Any kind of body oil. When I'm breaking up scar tissue, I'm probably going to try to heat the tissue up first by taking a hot shower, by taking a hot bath, by sitting in a steam room, by putting a hot water bottle on the affected area, and then the oil. Then I'm going to put oil down, and then I'm really going to go for it with my gua sha. And I might take breaks because sometimes I gua sha a lot, so I don't have a lot of pain with it, but I'm telling you that I used to. And there have been times when I've gotten Ayurvedic massage from my teacher, or when I've given Ayurvedic massage to my clients, and the clients are just like, oh my God, please stop. It hurts so much. And I'm an advocate for productive pain when it comes to body work. So you can, kind of be like, okay, I'm going to breathe. One more breath, I'll give myself a goal. And then our issues are in our tissues, totally. And then I'll go over it with my hands, and maybe I'll even give it a break, and then I'll come back to it. And being someone who, for a living, I type a lot, I chop a lot because I cook for people, and I massage a lot. Just even doing this on my forearm, is an incredible release for the muscles of the forearm. So that's one way that you can use the Gua Sha, is on an isolated area that you're really trying to get relief. So I don't know if any of you have ever noticed this, but when I talk, especially on the right side, I think it's getting a little bit better, but the sternocleidomastoid muscle, it just like protrudes forward. And it's kind of something that happened over the past 3 or 4 years. I didn't used to have that. But I've noticed that I really carry a lot of tension in my neck, and it's something I've been working out the past 4 years in yoga and in my Ayurvedic practice, and it has shifted quite a bit. But one of the ways that I've shifted it is I use the Gua Sha not only on the area that actually like kind of gives me some pain or discomfort, but also around the surrounding area. So I'll also use it underneath the jawline, this is all endocrine hormone area. So if you've got a lot of stagnation hormonally, sometimes this will be very painful, but to get this clear is amazing and so beneficial for your health. So I recommend using a Gua Sha in this way as well. But if you've heard me talk, oh yeah, this is great for cellulite. I mean, this is what will change cellulite more than anything. Fascia blasters are great for that too, but I actually do a combination of, I put oil on my body, then I'll do fascia blasting because I have one, and then I will Gua Sha over that. Because the fascia blaster, if you've never seen one, it has these little claws. So the claw kind of opens the tissue up and kind of gets it expanded, and it does get rid of cellulite too. Cellulite in Ayurveda, it's pockets of air that are trapped in your tissue surrounded by pockets of fat. So the air is kind of trapped. And so when you start to, which is a Vata Kapha issue, or Kapha blocking Vata. So when you start to use a Gua Sha and body oil to really create that warmth and that friction and that fluidity, the cellulite starts to, the fat pockets around the air start to liquefy and melt and become more uniform, and the air pockets just get released. So, I mean, you've got to really work at it. It depends on where you have cellulite and for how long you've had it and what your genetics are. Like I work all the time on my upper thighs, and they look pretty good for a 46-year-old's upper thighs. But I also know that genetically, like, my family tends to have kind of a lot of heavy energy in the upper thigh area, and I can see it in my body even though I work super hard on it. So it's not about getting it perfect, but it is about working it. But anyway, I'm going off on tangents. If you've ever heard me talk about dry brushing or teach dry brushing, we definitely teach it from the point of view of, well, you don't want to just brush your skin all over and be random about it. You want to follow the natural direction that your lymphatic system already flows, and that is up towards your heart. So you start, when you're Gua Shaing, you're starting from the lower body, which is what I recommend when you're starting from your, I don't know how, it's so hard to get it into the camera. I'm really going to get the tops of my feet. Why am I getting the tops of my feet first? One, because it's the bottom of the lymphatic system that is a one-way system running up the body towards the heart, feet to heart, hands to heart, head to heart. But also lymph nodes converge, like you'll see if you see a diagram. I meant to have a book out to show you, but I forgot. I'll take a picture and post it in our group. There are, what do you call it? Just a group of lymph nodes, which are not the same thing as lymphatic vessels. They connect lymphatic vessels connect the nodes with each other, but there are pockets in the body where there are literally like an area where there are several lymph nodes, and lymph nodes only have that one-way valve. So I'll go back and forth with a gua sha because I'm creating friction, but ultimately I'm going to sweep up, right? I'm going to do at least a few strokes that are just upward movement. And then I'm going to go for my legs. And I'm going to go back and forth because I'm just getting everything opened up. And then I'm going to finish with the upward movement towards the heart. So this is feet to heart. So all the way up your legs, tops of the feet, shins, calves, ankles. The backs of the knees is a really important place to open things up. It's really common for women to get stagnation behind the knees, all around the thighs, the outer hips, the lower back, the lower belly. So another area where there's a lot of lymph nodes is in the inguinal ligament, which is basically where your thighs meet your pelvis. That junction where we bend at the top of the thigh and the hip. There's a lot of lymph nodes in there, all across the lower belly, all across the lower abdomen. There are tons of lymph nodes around the breast tissue and the armpits. And then, of course, most of us are familiar with lymph up here, which Deanna calls the warrior lymph. This is where we're like, oh, am I getting sick? Do I have inflamed or swollen lymph nodes? But these can all be drained towards the heart, because it's at the heart where, at the subclavian vein, so the vein below the clavicle bones, where the lymphatic fluid dumps into the bloodstream to be released through urine and feces and sweat and etc. Like all the ways that we detox the body. It gets dumped and it gets released that way. So really useful to follow the lymphatic system, feet to heart, hands to heart, head to heart, even if you're doing some smaller work inside of your Gua Sha practice. But so what I do is I make the room really warm. I get naked, I put oil all over my body, and I just gua sha my entire body. I'll even, like with this little wooden one from Thailand that I love, I will even get my scalp. It's so relaxing, like, oh my God, just even right there. We hold so much tension in our scalp from overthinking, from worrying, from anxiety, from sleeping in the wrong position, clenching the jaw, anger, resentment. So there's just so many areas that you can be very fine-tuned with the gua sha, but then you can also do this larger, longer sweep of the body. So I saw there were some comments here. Either way, it's really two words. I think sha in Chinese medicine is the bloodletting that actually you see on the skin, where, if you do gua sha a lot, like you will probably bruise. You won't bruise all the time, but certainly when there's a lot of stagnation, you will. And that's a good sign. And the bruises fade within a few days to a week. Oh, good. You just got a gua sha. Yeah, soap and water to clean. It's wood, like wood gets conditioned by oil. So I don't worry that much about, I clean my gua shas that I use on my clients for sure in soap and water. I sterilize them. But when it's my gua sha and I'm using it on myself, if I'm not doing really deep work, I am just doing some little work, I might just let it be conditioned by the oil. And then, every now and again, I'll give it a good cleaning, but it's not super duper crucial. Yeah, so I hope this was really useful. If you want to get a gua sha, I have so many right now, And you can order them from my website, taliaskitchen.com/shop. I'll post the link in the description of this video. And I'm just trying to think if there's anything else I want to say. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the benefits of using a Gua Sha. So, releases lactic acid that gets built up in our tissue, specifically muscle, tonifies your nervous system by creating more space around muscle, bone, and nerve fibers. So it is a tool for creating more spaciousness in the body. Really great when you've got joint pain to use a Gua Sha. It supports lymphatic drainage and healthy blood flow, which I've talked about a lot. It improves overall circulation, decreases pockets of cellulite and trapped ama or toxicity, tonifies the organic body and individual organs. So actually, we see so many amazing things in the Ayurveda practice. And I've seen women completely transform their breast tissue. I help women do that all the time. So does Deanna at the Women's Herbal Symposium in Northern California. And we've even helped people who've had like a prolapsed bladder use the Gua Sha specific for that organ. So I'm going to show you with my body here, right? We'll literally have somebody Gua Sha the organ itself, right? I'm Gua Shaing right over the bladder and moving away from gravity when it's a prolapsed organ, so that you're tonifying the tissue so that the tissue starts to support itself more, which is what it did when you were younger and what you want it to keep doing for as long as possible. So women who wear underwire bra, we can lift up the breast tissue and get so much stagnation and scar tissue and stuck lymph to release from underneath the bra line. You can Gua Sha your liver, you can Gua Sha your gallbladder, your pancreas, your spleen. It's really powerful. Your stomach. It also breaks down skin tags, lipomas, fatty cysts, scar tissue, especially when you use a deeply penetrating oil like castor oil and or essential oils such as cypress. So very powerful. And just know, I just want you to know that if you do use the Gua Sha and you see bruising, I don't want you to be alarmed. The more often that you Gua Sha, the less often you'll bruise. So I hope you got a lot out of this how to use a Gua Sha on your body Facebook Live today. And I will see you next Thursday. I'll be in our free Facebook group, Ayurveda Every Day with Talia, at 12 p.m. Pacific time. Most Thursdays, I do my Facebook Lives in that group. And see you then. Thanks for coming.